Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. See who's gonna tap in here. So basically, what I'm gonna be talking about today is how to reprogram your subconscious mind for weight loss success. All right. This is a very, very, very important thing to discuss, just simply because our subconscious determines pretty much everything we do, right? Like we do not make conscious decisions all day long, right? Case in point, you don't have to think about controlling your heartbeat. You don't have to think about breathing, right? You don't have to think about any of these things. They just happen on autopilot, right? It's your subconscious that is doing these things. So in essence, it's no different with decisions that we make, the things that we eat, the places that we go to, the words that we speak, right? Like we say things unconsciously. Not only the things we say outwardly, but even the things we think, our self-talk is subconscious. We're not thinking intentionally most of the time, which means that if you want to lose weight and get in shape, but you have never been disciplined with your eating, you've never been consistent with a workout routine, you've never done any of these things over a long enough stretch of time to see tangible results, then it's because your subconscious is programmed to sabotage you from getting to the desired end. So we want to now reprogram it. So instead of it sabotaging you, it actually supports you in your endeavors, whether that's with fitness, relationships, work, French, like whatever it is, it can work for you if we learn to train it in such a way that supports us rather than hinders us. So I'm just gonna pull up this slide deck here. Let me just share my screen. And life you want. See, notice supported. Most human beings, our automatic patterns are hindering us, they're hurting us, right? And this is so important to know because it shows us that change can happen. It shows us that we don't need to be stuck, right? It's an illusion to think that just because you've done things a certain way for so long that it means that that cannot change. We just need to know some secrets. We just need to know some keys and be very consistent with the application of these keys so we can experience change. All right, so let me just go here. All right, so your subconscious is your autopilot. So it's a learned set of cues, expectations, and repeated responses that reduces daily decision making. Okay, so the subconscious mind allows you to not have to be so present with every single decision. Because if you had to be present, if you had to think about everything you had to do, right? Like I said, you have to think about your heartbeat, you have to think about breathing, you have to think about seeing, like if you have to think about all of these things, life would be so chaotic because it would be so overwhelming. Blood sugar regulation, man, you have to legit think about your digestive system and think about it breaking down foods and waste management and all. Like that would be insane, right? So we have the power of our subconscious mind to take care of all of that, right? So, and in the Bible, it supports this because in Proverbs it says to guard your heart with all diligence, above all that you guard, because out of it flows the springs of life. So our life is essentially the reflection of our heart. And you could use the word subconscious as a replacement for the word heart, right? When we speak in modern psychological terms, the subconscious mind really is the heart. And the heart is your mind, your will, and your emotions. They're all subconscious patterns. So when you emotionally eat, it's because your subconscious has been wired to find pleasure in eating so that you can avoid the pain you may be facing in your life. And we need to now turn that around, because if your subconscious stays programmed in a way where emotional eating is your response to life's hardships, you will never get the body you want, ever. Like that is just a reality, right? But again, the beautiful thing is we can change that. So it does not control your destiny. It just influences what feels normal, right? And that's why when we make a decision to get fit, like if you've decided you were going to get fit, if you've decided you're going to get in shape, you're going to lose the 20 pounds, you're going to lose the 50 pounds, you're going to lose the 100 pounds, and you're excited, you're like, yeah, let's go. I'm going to make it happen. And you feel motivated, you feel energized, you feel determined. But then old Jim at work pisses you off, or your boss just gives you a hard time, or something happens with your spouse, or just some type of friction occurs in your life, some type of adversity. Now your emotions are going to bubble up in such a way that now the desire to emotionally eat starts to override that initial desire to lose weight, that emotional tie to reaching your fitness goal, that excitement, that initial excitement and euphoria you felt. It gets overridden by the pain you were feeling in your life. And guess what? Because of that feeling of pain, what feels normal is going to start to become your default behavior. So now you're going to eat the cake and the cookie and the things that may set you back. And now next thing you know, this determination to lose weight that you get every week, every month, every year is just nothing more than just some emotional high that's never followed up with action that can be taken long enough to actually see the fruit of your labor. So we need to flip that over its head and get to a place where now it doesn't even matter how you feel. You take actions that are beneficial for you reaching this goal until it feels normal. And I think that's the great thing. That is what we can look forward to. Even if we can't look forward to that, so be it. Because logically, it's better to be healthy, it's better to be fit, it's better to take care of yourself anyway. But I'm here to tell you today that eventually eating healthy, eating in a way that's going to support your weight loss, exercising in a way that's going to support muscle building and fat loss, doing these things will eventually feel normal. And that's going to be great. So reprogramming your mind, it requires rehearsing a better response until it becomes easier to repeat, even when motivation is low. If you can still do what you need to do when your motivation is non-existent, that's when you have arrived. You have already arrived. It does not... if you only do the things you need to do when motivation is high, it doesn't even count. Because at the end of the day, the Bible says to walk as wise, not as unwise, making the most use of the time because the days are evil. So in essence, there's always going to be a higher chance that there's going to be some adversity in your life than there is smooth sailing. Okay, it's just the way it is, which means that if you only act when motivation is high, good luck, because something is going to happen that is going to throw you off. It's just bound to happen. It's just bound to happen. My My wife and I at our church, our pastor, he once said that you're either in a trial, headed for a trial, or coming out of one. It's just what it is, right? So if we can be very aware of that fact, we can be on the we can be very vigilant to realize, like, okay, like, yeah, I don't feel motivated right now, but the work's got to get done. The work has got to get done. Okay, I lost 5 pounds and now this thing happened that makes me feel bad. You know, sometimes we've gotten some results, but then we justify veering away from the process because something bad happened, but also we could justify we could justify veering off the path because, you know, I already lost 5 pounds, so eating this won't hurt. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I feel bad right now, so let me cope in peace, right? Like, our mind, see, it's our subconscious mind, because these things feel normal. They feel normal. It's scary. It's so scary how the mind can be programmed for our demise. So we need to change the narrative. All right. So we need to, sorry. Okay. So bam, starting with identity and not the scale. So when we see what the scale says, right? If you're 300 pounds, if you're 200 pounds, if you're, 180 or whatever, right? What can end up happening is you start seeing life from the lens of a 200-pound person, of a 300-pound person, versus from the lens of the version of you want to become. So once again, reinforcing the patterns, because the person that's 200 pounds, right? If you're 200 pounds trying to lose weight, if the person that's 300 pounds, if you're 300 pounds trying to lose weight, the person that's 250 pounds, if you're 250 pounds trying to lose weight, that person has certain habits, certain behavior patterns that are automatic, and they're the reason why you may be at that place. Which means if you keep seeing that number, associating with that number, and identifying with that number, guess what? You're going to continue to do the things that are aligned with that identity. So we need to start with shifting our identity. The scale is not going to, we don't wait to get to 100 pounds down and say, okay, then I'm going to change my identity. We don't wait until we're 50 pounds down and then we say, all right, I'm going to change my identity. No, we change our identity to get the 50 pounds off. We change our identity to get the 100 pounds off. We change our identity to get the abs, to get the tone, to get the strength, to get the body we want. We change our identity first, and then life, actions, behavior pattern will be an overflow of the shift of identity. So we have to start changing the story that we tell ourselves. Instead of saying things like, I'm always starting over, we say, I'm a person that keeps promises to myself. Instead of saying, I can never lose weight, I've always been big, we say, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm determined, I'm disciplined. We change what we say to ourselves, because when we change what we say, we change what we get. I'm going to say that one more time. When we change what we say, we change what we get. So what are you telling yourself? Like, I want all of you guys, I want every single person to start taking account for what you say. Because I promise you, if you can really observe what you say to yourself and then look at your life, you're going to see connections and be like, oh my gosh, I literally manifested this life that I'm living right now, for better or for worse, right? And I don't, listen, there's probably good things you're like, oh, well, I'm thankful I manifested this. But then there's some things where you're like, dang it, I am tired of this. I am tired of this part of my reality. So change the story. Change the story. All right? Once the story changes, everything changes. Everything changes. So you are changing your story today. All right. Okay, so this kind of goes back to what I was saying, exposing the loop before you try to change it. So, 9 a.m., you may go to work and immediately, there's a man that, I don't know, maybe his name is Derek and he pisses you off, right? Or, so someone at work, someone at school, whatever, just bothers you. Now, boom, you're triggered. Then you're like, I deserve to eat this thing that is 1,000 calories. And then boom, you were intending to eat healthy, but now an unplanned binge just occurred because of your trigger. And now you get temporary relief, but what's going to happen is you're going to now fall into shame. You're going to fall into guilt. You're going to feel unworthy of even accomplishing such a great feat, like 50 pounds down. Like, how could I accomplish such a thing if one little situation could set me off and next thing you know, I'm eating a whole McCain chocolate cake? Like, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. So we need to be able to now be very, very aware of what our triggers are. So when our triggers present themselves, we do not act on them. Okay? Because someone would say, "Oh, avoid your triggers." People say, "Avoid your triggers, avoid your triggers, avoid your." What if you can't avoid your triggers? What if you can't avoid your triggers? The story in the Bible, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were 3 people that refused to bow down to an idol. And the consequence, if you didn't bow down to the idol, was you would get put into a fiery furnace, okay? They bowed to the idol. They refused to bow to the idol because they wanted to continue to be faithful to the living God, Yahweh, right? So because of their rebellion, right, they got put into that furnace. Now, that you could the reason why I'm bringing this up as an example, you could parallel this by considering the fact that just because you are in the fire does not mean you need to get burned. Just because the trigger happens does not mean you need to eat the cake. Just because the trigger happens doesn't mean you got to say, I ain't going to the gym today because I feel like crap. Someone called me fat. Someone called me a name. Someone hurt my feelings. So you know what? I'm just going to stay home today and better luck tomorrow. Like, just because you're in the fire does not mean you need to get burned. So sometimes we have to look at these fires as a means to propelling us forward. All right, I've been triggered. I'm going to go extra hard today in the gym. All right, I've been triggered. I'm going to make sure I get like extra protein today, extra steps today. I'm going to do more than what I was originally going to do. Because what that does is it starts training, again, your subconscious mind to say, you know what? I win regardless of my being triggered, regardless of my feelings, regardless of anything. I am going to win. I'm going to take the actions that need to be taken so that I can get the results that I've already pre-intended to get. All right. And it's these behaviors, these moments of fighting and fighting and fighting, this repetition that reprograms the subconscious. And now it becomes, once again, normal to do the things that move you forward. And how powerful would that be for the things that move you forward to be normal and doing things that set you back to be abnormal? I mean, like how could you get any better than that? Like, I mean, come on. That means that at that point, it's easier to continue doing the things that works, and it's harder to stop. Like when doing the right thing is hard to stop, that's when you're unbeatable. It's only in the moment where it's harder to continue doing the right thing that it can feel like failure is just an inevitable reality. But I'm telling you, we can flip this narrative. We can change the script. Again, we can change the story. And that we shall do. All right. So we must pre-decide our responses with a plan. So having a plan in place is very powerful because once again, it allows us to decide what we're going to do instead of another. Like it can put us in a place where we can decide to do one thing that's powerful and beneficial as opposed to one thing that is detrimental and obviously not beneficial. So if I want to order takeout after a stressful day, I'll eat my prepared meal first and then wait 15 minutes and then decide. I love this. I love this because, this is something that I've done before, and I can share with you an example. There'd be times I might want like a soda, a pop, all right, like an Orange Crush or like a root beer or whatever. And then I'll be like, okay, you know what? Let me drink water first. And it's not for reasons like, for instance, because I think it's like a lot of calories, because typically I don't get drinks with calories, but it may be I'm craving it so much that I'm like gonna go out of my way to go buy the drink or like drive a distance just to get it, right? But then I'll be like, you know what? Let me drink water right now and see what happens. And I will drink a bottle of water that I may have in my car or even in my place, because sometimes the cravings hit so hard, I'm sure you can relate, where you're like willing to leave your house, go in the car, drive just for that one thing, right? But I'll drink water and then wait, and I'm like, I don't really want that anymore, right? So you'll notice that when you do something that is beneficial and then wait, you're not gonna feel this compulsion to do the thing anymore. So I would say that's probably one of the most powerful things you can do to ensure consistency. Is the moment you want to do something that is bad, the moment you want the cake, the ice cream, the moment you want the Cheetos, the moment you want the Oreos, right? By the way, I love Oreos, so I understand the struggle. But the moment you want those things, go get the chicken, eat the chicken and rice, okay? Go have the Greek yogurt with strawberries. Go have the fruit bowl. Eat the thing that is gonna move you closer to your goal, and then you'll realize that there is no more desire for the McCain ice cream cake. There's no more desire for the the Subway cookies. There's no more desire for these things that are hyper palatable that obviously set us back with our goals. All right. Okay. This is a powerful one. So visualizing the obstacle, not only the outcome. So visualizing the obstacles is something that is very powerful to losing weight, to getting fit. Now, I'm going to share with you a parallel to this point about visualizing the obstacle. So there's a guy by the name of Nikola Tesla. He's long passed, but he's been a very influential person in this world. Matter of fact, if you listen again, his name is Nikola Tesla. So the Tesla car that Elon Musk developed, he was actually inspired by Nikola Tesla, hence the name Tesla. So Nikola Tesla was super learned when it came to energy, electricity, and things of that nature. Matter of fact, Nikola Tesla actually was the one that invented the telephone. A lot of us think that Thomas Edison was the one who invented it, but Thomas Edison was more so the marketer. But Nikola Tesla was actually the genius behind the telephone. So he was a smart guy. And one of the things he used to do was he would visualize everything that could potentially go wrong when he was developing these prototypes, developing these products, he would look at every obstacle, every issue, everything that could go wrong before he even started the process. Why would he do that? Because then when things do go wrong, when there is friction, when there is obstacles, he knows immediately how to pivot, right? So if you actually visualize things that you can say definitively have hindered you from making progress in the past, whether that's birthdays, whether that's weddings, whether that's your mama coming over, whether that's your mama inviting you over, grandma, whatever. If you know these are things that have set you back in the past, stress, all of these different things, and you visualize these obstacles, what ends up happening is you can now arrange your life so well to the point where when those things come up, you already have a solution to the problem versus being reactive. Now you are more proactive. Okay. They say that prevention is the best medicine. And how true is that? If you can prevent yourself from falling into the snare of these obstacles, then you're pretty much on your way to success. All right. So this is another great way to reprogram your mind. So creating a minimum standard for hard days. Creating a minimum standard for hard days. So our subconscious learns consistency when the habit survives imperfect conditions. Okay? So if you only take action when everything is good, people will say things like, oh, I'm going to start on Monday when it's a fresh week, or I'm going to start this in January, a fresh year, or let me start at the fresh month, or after this or after that and the other. Like people want to start when the conditions are perfect. But your subconscious actually learns when you are able to do things when the conditions are imperfect. Now, why does that happen? It's because your subconscious is autopilot, it takes the path of least resistance every time. So if you, let's say, are dealing with some sort of adversity in your life, maybe, you can't work out till 10 p.m. because you got 2 jobs and you haven't developed the habit of working out, but you're like, you know what? I'm working out. I don't care if it's 10 p.m. I don't care if I got to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm working out. Those imperfect conditions will lead your subconscious mind to be like, oh, shoot, this is uncomfortable for him. This is uncomfortable for her. Okay, so we have to adjust. We have to adjust our expectation. We have to adjust how we behave. We have to adjust what chemicals we fire in this man's brain, in this woman's brain, because now you have changed your behavior in an uncomfortable environment. And because our bodies, our minds, our brains, we adapt so well, what ends up happening is you will adapt to this. You will adapt to these imperfect conditions, and then you will start to take these actions a lot easier. Because it's hard to work out when you got to do it after a long day of work, 2 jobs, taking care of kids, whatever your situation is. It's hard to do that. So because it's hard to do that, your subconscious mind has to envelop the new habit, because it cannot stay hard, because it's just going to drain you. It has to become automatic. It has to become something that is done without effort, because your survival actually depends on it. We could not survive if we had to think and strain and struggle to do every single thing. I'm telling you, you know this from observation, because I'm sure you've seen people and you're like, how do you work out all the time? How do you do this all the time? Oh my gosh, you got all that, girl, you got all them kids and you be still working out. Oh, you working all the time, but yet you still fit and you still do. That is because, it's not because they're special. It's because of the subconscious programming. Okay. So this can be the same reality for you, for me, as long as we follow these steps. So, a perfect day for you could be a 60-minute workout, food fully meal prepped, 10,000 steps. All right. Okay, cool. That's a perfect situation. A hard day may lead you to be like, all right, I'm going to do a 10-minute walk. I'm going to have protein twice, and I'm going to track my macros, right? You're doing something. You're doing something. Like maybe on those easy days, you could work out for hours. You could do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But you got to do something on the hard day. So I'm not even necessarily saying that you need to do the exact same thing. Like if it's a tough day, you should work out to the same hour you normally do. You should get the same 10. I'm not even saying that. But your subconscious mind will only accept patterns. It will only accept action that is repeated over time. So on the hard days, make sure to do something. Do anything. Anything but say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Anything but saying, I'm going to do it next week. Anything but saying, new year, new me. Anything but that, all right? We need to take action steps. So protect the pattern, even if you need to reduce the dose, okay? Reduce the dose, meaning even if you have to work out less that day, even if you have to get less steps that day, even if you're not able to get as much protein, but you get some protein that day, reduce the dose, but protect the pattern, okay? Finally, rewriting your self-image, okay? Rewriting your self-image. Everybody has a self-image, and it is your self-image that determines what you are capable of. And you know what's crazy about the self-image is that somebody can have the most grandiose self-image in one season and have the most tiny self-image in another season. So your self-image can constantly change. But we don't want our self-image to change by life circumstances and things happening. We want to have a self-image that we essentially were intentional with creating. And essentially we want it to be as close to the image that God has given you your self-image, okay? God has given you your self-image, but because of sin in the fallen world, we have allowed it to be marred. And he's telling us, yo, come back, and realize who you truly are. Right? So in essence, just in the practical sense of things, right? We need to look at evidence. The subconscious mind loves evidence. And that's actually why, it's very hard to change our habits, because if you're out of shape and you have evidence that you're out of shape, then why would you try to get in shape? If there's evidence that you're out of shape, maybe then that means that you can't change things, right? So that's the importance of taking steps every day to offset that. So if you planned your meals and you followed the macronutrient breakdown you needed to follow, that's evidence that you are a healthy, fit person. If you were supposed to get your 10,000 steps and you got your 10,000 steps, or was, like I said, a hard day and you got your 8,000 steps, 6,000 steps, but you did something, you got your steps, all right? Boom, that is evidence. You did your workout, you did your stretches, your recovery, evidence, right? You knew you needed to get 7-8 hours of sleep, you got it, all right? Evidence. You don't need to be perfect. A lot of people, they're hard on themselves. They say things like, oh, I didn't work out. I ate right, but I didn't work out, or I worked out and I didn't eat right, or I did. Listen, don't ask those questions to yourself. You need to ask, did I do things that are aligned with the person I need to be? Because like the moment you could say yes, that's it, that's all. And you take the wins of today and you roll them over tomorrow. And then you roll them over to the next day. And then you keep rolling them over until there's undeniable evidence of your self-image. There's undeniable evidence of who you are. Listen, you want to be so consistent with this that it just gets to a point, because right now, yes, there is no motive. You may not feel or look at anything about where you are now and glean motivation from that. All right, cool. But you can create an image in your inner world, in your mind's eye, and you can act from that identity. You can act from that image. You do not need to act from what you see right now. You don't. That is an option, and most people will choose to take that option, but it is optional. You don't need to act from what you see now. You can act based on where you see yourself in your subconscious, or sorry, in your mind's eye. Okay, like the Bible, it says in Joel 3:10, it says, let the weak man say, I am strong. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about the characteristic of God? What does that tell you about the characteristic we should have? One that denies what we physically see that is not good, and affirms that which we may not physically see, but that which we see internally that is good, until what we see internally becomes what we see externally, and what we see externally becomes good. And you know, the Bible talks about seed time and harvest. As long as this world is spinning, seed time and harvest will never cease. So your seed needs to become the person you want to be, and you need to nurture that seed through your action. You need to nurture that seed through continuing to think in a way that is aligned with who you want to be. And then time will go by as you nurture that seed. And then the harvest will be what you see, the manifestation of the seed or the fruit of it, right? Some powerful, 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 powerful stuff. A setback is data. It's not an identity, okay? So the goal is not to avoid every slip. It is to shorten the time between the slip and the return. Most people, and you know, I explain this a lot of times when I do coaching calls or consultations. I'll be like, yo, you know, left to our own devices, we miss one workout, then we miss 10. Then next thing you know, it's already January 1st and we're all part of the New Year, New Me crowd, right? But if we miss one workout and then we do the next 10, we miss one workout, boom, we do the next 30. We miss one, we do the next 40. Then it's all good. It's almost like that one missed workout didn't even count, didn't even matter, didn't even count. It's like that one bad day of eating didn't even count because we ate well 40 times in a row, 30 times in a row, 60 times in a row. So you can be set back, but use it as data. Don't say, oh man, I ate bad. And I know you might be like, what, Jerome? You told me to be consistent and not to eat the cake. I'm not telling you you should eat the cake. But I'm saying if you do, you have an alibi, right? And it's called data. So you feeling guilt and feeling shame is actually great because it is data. Once you identify with the data and you think the data means that, okay, cool, like I ate the thing, I feel bad, this is just me, that's a problem. But if you say I ate the thing, I feel bad, let me go back to the things that serve me, then now we're rolling, now we're talking, now we're gonna actually see changes, right? So notice things when they happen and do it without judgment. Be like, all right, this happened. It is what it is. I'm going to get back on the wagon. Learn. Identify the cue. What led you to do that thing and what was missing? Maybe you didn't have the if then, if this, I'll do this instead. Like if you feel triggered to eat cake, I'm going to have a protein shake and then wait 15 minutes. Like maybe you didn't have that in the forefront of your mind. All right, cool. We learn from that. And then we return to take the action steps that are aligned with the plan immediately. And then we're good. then we're good. We will start to move in the right direction again. And matter of fact, even one slip doesn't mean you're in the wrong direction, okay? It does not mean you're in the wrong direction. You only are going in the wrong direction if you identify with the mistake and make another one and another one and another one. But a mistake is not your identity, okay? It is not your identity. It's literally a miss. It's like, think about that word, mistake. It's a mistake. It's not a purpose. You didn't do it on purpose. It's a mistake. You were supposed to do this and you mistakenly did the wrong thing. But now you take the right take. You do the right thing. All right. And that's the beautiful thing about life, guys. This is the beautiful thing about life. You do not need to wallow in the mire, wallow in the mud because you made a mistake. All right. You don't need to do that. So here is your 7-day subconscious reset tool. So I would challenge everybody to do this for a week. So choose an identity statement, okay? So this can be like, I am, insert your statement. I am fit. I am healthy. You know, I am loved. You know, a lot of people, because they don't feel loved, they go to food, right? Have an identity statement. Track one trigger loop daily because they're going to come. You know, once you put your mind towards making a transformation like this, you're going to be so hyper aware of triggers. It's not even funny. And if you track them, you'll know what they are, and you can adjust, or rather you can adapt accordingly. Write 3 if-then plans. So if I want this, then I'm going to do this. If I want to watch Netflix at home, then I'm going to work out for 10 minutes and then see. And then see if I want to still watch Netflix. Prepare your environment tonight. Prepare it. That could be if you work out at home or even in the gym. And you work out in the morning. Have your gym clothes, your shoe close to your bed. All right? Have your environment set you up for success. Okay, set a hard day minimum. Ooh. Again, this one is a great one. Okay, what is your minimum gonna be on your hard days? Non-negotiable minimum. All right, easy days, you work out for an hour. Easy days, you get your 10,000 steps. Easy days, you're eating your protein and what have you. But what's the hard day minimum? Is it I'm gonna get 5,000 steps no matter what? I'm gonna get 10,000 steps no matter what? I'm going to work out. Maybe I usually go to the gym. I'm going to work out at home 15 minutes, no matter what. All right. Set a hard day minimum and then record 4 daily evidence points. What things every day for these 7 days can you refer to that prove you are who you say you are? All right. Is that working out? Is that getting your steps? Is that abiding by your hard day minimum? Maybe it was a horrible day, but you're like, yo, I got my 5,000 steps. I am who I say I am. Right? Write that down. Review, adjust, and repeat. Okay. Review what's going on. Like, am I tracking my macros? Am I eating my protein? All right, cool. Am I not doing that? Am I slipping maybe once or twice a week? All right, let me adjust. Okay, am I okay, now I'm not really slipping with my eating, but now I'm noticing I'm not working out as much as I should. Okay, you adjust. And then again, you review, you adjust, you repeat. It's a never-ending cycle. All right, it's like driving a car. You don't just drive a car, hold the steering wheel like this and get to your destination. No, you're making little adjustments. You're making little adjustments to the wheel. All right, that's just how it is. So anyway, with that said, yeah, that's the end of the presentation. I hope this was very, very helpful to you all, and we're gonna crush it. We still got time left this year to make some serious changes, We're all walking this out together. All right. Have an amazing night. God bless. Peace.